Think refs aren't part of the game plan? Think again. Mic drop. Two teams, one handshake, and 100 replay clips later, that's how Sunday's Packers-Bears drama rewound from handshake theater into an officiating showdown. And it started with one coach asking a simple question out loud: I guess I don't know what holding is anymore. You heard that line and you knew it wasn't frustration for frustration's sake. It was a probe, a prod, a public play. Game night. Green Bay grinds out a 28-21 win. Micah Parsons hounds the quarterback all night with pressure numbers most coordinators dream about, but the sacks, the ones that put opposing offenses on tilt, never come. The tape shows Parsons getting grabbed, wrapped, and corralled on rush after rush. The whistle doesn't blow. Fans clip it, coaches clip it, and Matt LaFleur clips it to the league office by way of his microphone. That's the story. You want to know why this matters? Because in today's NFL, enforcement is part of competitive strategy. If elite pass rushers are repeatedly impeded, neck wraps, sleeve holds, subtle grapples away from the chest, it changes outcomes. It turns pressures into near misses and game-changing sacks into highlight reel escapes. LaFleur knew that. He used the post-game podium not to rant, but to build an evidentiary record in public. Watch the film, make the calls consistent, protect the integrity of the game, and by extension, protect our edge rusher. So let's walk through what happened and why LaFleur's line is more chess than tantrum. The first act was small, a cold handshake, a snub that made headlines. It's juicy television, and sports talk shows ate it up. But the shaking of gloves was only the preface. The main act was on field in 3-second bursts where Parsons exploded off the edge and found himself tangled in linemen's arms before the QB even had time to think about scrambling. On social, clips of Darnell Wright and Colston Loveland seemingly corralling Parsons spread like wildfire. Viewers paused, rewound, compared angles, and the question hung in the air: why no flags? Act 2 is the public pressure campaign. LaFleur didn't call out the crew in a blind fury, he framed a precise complaint. I thought that one was pretty clear and obvious, he said, nodding to a handful of plays. That wording matters. It's a deliberate nudge to officiating supervisors and the league's replay office. This isn't noise, it's repeatable evidence. Coaches do this. They make a case on camera because the league responds to patterns more readily than to lone incidents. If enough high-profile coaches file the same complaint with tape in hand, the league has to address it, either by reminding crews what to call or by clarifying rule interpretations league-wide. Micah Parsons' reaction? He played the part of the consummate pro. I just got to keep fighting through, he said. That line says two things. One, he's used to getting held. Two, he's used to turning the expected into extraordinary anyway. Parsons isn't whining. He's documenting a reality. Being smaller-bodied but technical in leverage, he suffers when a blocker hooks an arm across the neck or shoulder. It robs him of momentum and sack opportunities. When parity depends on a few plays, that friction matters. What makes this political is precedent. Parsons' entire career has had this subplot. Cowboys fans cried foul on similar no calls for years. The Packers are simply importing the same film to Green Bay and asking for enforcement consistency. If the league adjusts, it tangibly shifts the balance of power. Sacks increase, quarterbacks face more pressure, and offenses have to account for a pass rush that can actually finish. If the league doesn't adjust, well, we get more of the same. Coaches using podiums as pressure valves, social clips as proof, and referees caught in the middle of a PR and competitive tug-of-war. Now consider the tactical upside for Green Bay. LaFleur's public complaint does two strategic things at once. It rallies the fan base, who love to see protecting a star defender, and it signals to opponents, we see you. Next time the Bears try the same wrap and hold technique, the league office may already be watching. That could translate into a crucial flag in Week 16, when these teams meet again. Flags flip drives, drives flip games, games flip division races. It's not hyperbole, it's modern football math. Meanwhile, the Bears get the W on the scoreboard, and that complicates the optics. They executed enough to stay competitive, converted in key moments, and came away with a one-score loss that keeps their season alive. But wins and refereeing controversies aren't mutually exclusive. You can hold and win and still be subject to a league correction that swings future outcomes. That's the weird new edge of the NFL. Playing by the rules isn't only about what's legal, it's about how those rules are being enforced at scale. So what should we watch for next? First, the replay. If the Packers gather a dossier and the league issues guidance, we'll see quicker flags on edge play in the coming weeks. Second, the referee crews. Teams quietly file officiating complaints all the time. This one has public heat. Third, the rematch. Week 16 is suddenly a chessboard. If the league leans towards strict enforcement, Parsons gets freer lanes and the Packers' pass rush becomes a larger variable in that game. There's another layer, the psychological. LaFleur's podium play plants a seed in opponents' heads. Now, when they block Parsons, they'll wonder if that moment will become Exhibit A in a league review. That uncertainty can make offensive linemen hesitate just enough to lose leverage. Coaching theater can become a subtle deterrent. Bottom line, the handshake was a headline, but the film and LaFleur's mic drop are the move. Green Bay won the game, but the story LaFleur chose to tell will outlive the scoreboard. He took a referee issue and turned it into strategic leverage. Spotlight the pattern, force a league response, and protect a key weapon. Whether the NFL acts or not, the Packers put documentation on file, and the Bears now play under a brighter microscope. Here's the kicker. The next 2 weeks matter. 2 weeks from now, at Soldier Field, the rematch will test whether public pressure changes private enforcement. If the flags start to come, you won't remember the handshake. You'll remember the call that changed the game. If the flags don't come, the narrative still matters because the Packers now have a public record and the cameras on their side. And for the final line, the one you'll remember after the rebates and hot takes, coaches don't complain. They build cases. LaFleur didn't just bitch about the refs. He showed everyone how to litigate a football game in public. The whistle may fall in the stadium, but the real calls are made on film, in meetings, and yes, sometimes on a microphone after the final whistle. Matt LaFleur shading the officiating of Micah Parsons was the real drama in Packers' win over Bears, not the post-game handshake with Ben Johnson. I guess I don't know what holding is anymore. The non-theatric theatrics were just a distraction. The real drama, and a telling tactic for the Green Bay Packers, came later Sunday. Yes, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur unquestionably did a flyby handshake with the Chicago Bears' Ben Johnson. No, it wasn't nearly as dramatic as some of the instantaneous reactions portrayed it. If anything, the nanosecond of interaction between the two was more dust bunny than dust up. Maybe you craved a Jim Harbaugh versus Jim Schwartz circa 2011 post-game confrontation, only to be disappointed with LaFleur simply giving Johnson a chilly little ole before everyone swiftly moved on with their postgame. Just a quick handshake, LaFleur said following the Packers' 28-21 win over the Bears. We'll see them again in 2 weeks. Any drama or pettiness between the Packers and Bears fell flat after a week of intensely re-racking comments Johnson made in his introductory news conference with the Bears last January, when he said he enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year as offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Instead, LaFleur was forward-looking and respectful of the Bears, reciting his fairly typical mission-first diatribes about methodically moving forward. In the same vein, Johnson was complimentary of the Packers and appreciative about being part of a rivalry between the two teams being reinvigorated as each vies for the NFC North crown. I do think there's some aura that comes with playing here and competing here, Johnson said of Lambeau Field. I love it for our guys. This is what the football gods made football to be. Cold weather in December like this. Green Bay, Chicago. It's outstanding. I think it's awesome to have this rivalry alive and well right now, and we'll get another chance at it here in 2 weeks. For the most part, that was the underlying Packers message. Green Bay held down its end of the bargain, and it will see Chicago again in 2 weeks when the division could be decided at Soldier Field. Oh, and stop committing the clearly egregious but also unflagged holding penalties on Micah Parsons. That's where the spice was Sunday. Less between LaFleur and Johnson than between the Packers coach and Sunday's officiating crew. Not to mention the majority of the Packers fan base, which flooded social media with clips of Parsons being held by Bears tight end Colston Loveland and offensive tackle Darnell Wright, among others. A hold by Wright left Packers fans furious after it was posted by the NFL's X account as a Chicago highlight, showcasing a pivotal scramble and completion by Bears quarterback Caleb Williams during a late fourth-quarter drive. On the play, Parsons comes off the right edge and is met by Wright, who hooked his arm around Parsons' neck and corralled him out of the way as Williams rolled out and completed a 24-yard pass to Devin Duvernay. In the background, Parsons is on his knees, raising his arms, seemingly asking for a penalty or any explanation for what it takes to get a flag. Parsons finished with 8 pressures, but 0 sacks or tackles. Afterward, LaFleur took exception to the lack of flags. Multiple times during the game, he engaged officials complaining about uncalled holds. Asked about one incident, LaFleur said he wasn't sure what constituted holding after seeing how Parsons was officiated. "I guess I don't know," LaFleur said. "I thought there was one that certainly was questionable, to say the least. But apparently the officials disagree, so it is what it is. We just got to continue to strain and fight